And welcome back, guys, to the episode of the Geek Centurions. It's me, your boy Eli.
It's me, Joe.
And we're back to talk about some Loki and Bad Batch. We're probably going to start off with Bad Batch first. It's been, 2 weeks since we talked about it? Each show has 2 episodes we got to talk about?
Yeah. So we're going to try to at least get through at least sort of what happens in these past episodes pretty fast, hopefully. Because, I mean, obviously we have, the last week's episodes of Bad Batch and Loki, which, I mean, they're already out, so we're going to try to blaze through them and mainly just try to discuss, this week's episode at the time of recording this. But, I mean, let's just...
Start off with Bad Batch, and really this first episode we're talking about, I think it's episode 8? No, what episode is this?
Yeah, that's...
Other don't keep track. Okay, 9.
Yeah.
Episode 9 and 10. So episode 9, it's really just continuing the situation with Omega, where she's being taken away by Cad Bane, and now we have Fennec, who's coming into, which we both saw coming a mile away. They're both gonna be fighting over to who takes Omega. But and since the episode's already been out for a week, we can go into a little bit of spoilers of this one. We find out why Omega's so special.
Yeah.
She is technically a Boba.
Yeah, she's like the last first generation, I guess.
Yeah.
Clone of Boba's Jango's DNA. That's why, because Boba Fett was the Alpha and Omega as well, the Omega.
Of course.
Which I mean, honestly, yeah, it makes sense to me. I think there was a bit of discussion of I think because Tech mentioned that she's the last, I guess not pure, but she has the most competent DNA out of all the clones that they have left. So if they wanted to make more clones, then they would use Omega, because Django's dead, obviously. Boba is, getting on with his life, being a bounty hunter, probably. And they only had Omega, and now that she's gone, the Kaminoans are like, oh fuck, we don't have any more clones. We need her for the clone shit. And the Prime Minister's like, was the one that hired Cad Bane, but the Doctor Kaminoan, who oversaw Omega, was the one that hired Fennec, and essentially wants because essentially I think the Prime Minister was like, after we get her and get the DNA, dispose of her. Right, but obviously the female doctor doesn't want to do that because she has feelings for Omega.
Yeah, it's like a daughter.
Yeah, so she essentially has Fennec to just sort of run interference.
Yeah,
just making sure that Cad Bane doesn't bring her in, and obviously the Bad Batch are able to find Omega thanks to Omega sort of scanning around,
doing Omega things,
trying to get the signal out. And, Omega's safely back with the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And Fennec's like, listen, all right, if you need me to do any other stuff, you know how to call me, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a friendship now.
I mean, I guess a working relationship.
Yeah. But I mean, more for Omega than the rest of the Bad Batch.
I guess.
Yeah. But essentially, I think the important thing to take out from this episode is that Omega is basically another Boba in terms of a pure clone, because the idea is that all these clones have a little slightly defect, or if you're the Bad Batch, a lot of defects.
Yeah, because the more times they use that genetic code or whatever, the more it gets used up. So they need more, and Omega being the sort of the last pure one, they need that DNA.
Yeah, because remember that was the whole deal with Boba, is that Jango wanted kind of like a son.
Yeah,
that's why he was like, okay. You can clone me. You can be the first, but don't rush his aging. Let him grow up normally.
Yeah,
as a son to me.
Yeah. So I mean, it's super interesting that technically Boba has a sister. Technically. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's sort of the last
little sister.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But yeah. So that's the episode 9. Now we'll just jump forward to episode 10.
By the way, if you're wondering why we're just blazing through Bad Batch, because it's just the storytelling is just simple, straightforward.
Yeah, I mean there isn't. I mean there aren't a whole lot. I mean, revelations. I mean, obviously the big revelation this past episode was the whole Omega being a pure clone. But besides that, I mean it's just sort of standard action fighting. Cad Bane versus Fennec.
Which was awesome.
Yeah, pretty legit. And
Cad Bane being a badass as always.
Yeah, he's like, you ain't experienced enough to handle me, Fennec. Back off. This is my prey.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'll admit, I like how they just keep giving him like these really cool shots.
Yeah, I mean, it's pure Western.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They gave him the whole Western like imagery.
Yeah. But all right, but yeah, that's sort of like why we're kind of going through this. Also, it's like a week old at this point at the time of recording, so we gotta move things along.
Yeah.
So now we're on to episode 10. That happened this week, which is basically the center of the separatist.
One of the separatist planets.
Yeah, I think it's like one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Like it's under Empire control. They want one of the senators to basically be like, "Hey, listen, follow the Empire's rules, submit that stuff." But he's like, "No, I'm an upstanding senator. I fight for my people. I'm not gonna let them do this." And of course, the Imperials are like, seize him, arrest him, and he has his droid basically sort of send out like "Hey, we need someone to break out, the senator." And of course, that news travels up to Sid, which travels up to the Bad Batch, and it's like, "Hey, listen, I need you to free this separatist senator, or whatever. It's gonna be a lot of big bucks." And the Bad Batch are like, "No, we're not helping the separatists."
Yeah, because it's you gotta remember these guys have been at war with them for basically their entire lives.
Yeah, they were pretty much, they were born to fight the separatists and the droid armies. So. There's very much like, nah, we ain't gonna handle this. And it's like, listen, you still got adept to me, so you gotta do the job.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously Hunter, because of having 2 bounty hunters on Omega, and as well as like a whole planet full of Imperials, is like, you know what, Omega, sit this one out. You hang out with Sid, and obviously Omega's very kind of sad about it. Like, I don't like this. I'm part of the team.
Yeah.
It's like, no, all right. Like, listen, you gotta sit this one out, all right.
Though I will say, she finds a way to make it her own.
Yeah, she does find a way to be useful, and has a bit of a bonding moment with Sid in this episode.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
It's the best way to bond over money.
Yeah, because Sid finds out that she's actually very good at playing the that weird like strategy game,
that weird chess game that no one has ever acknowledged how it plays.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a really big, deep Star Wars nerd, and for one, tell me how it's played, because I don't know how it's played.
There's probably some Lost Legends book about it, where like they explain the intricacies of how to play.
Listen, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be it's gonna be like first season Yu-Gi-Oh anime where the rules do not apply to this anime.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I'm actually surprised they haven't ever even attempted to make a board game out of that.
What if they did?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I'll bet money on it.
But yeah, so Omega's good at playing this game. Sid's like, "Hey, listen, how about you play for me for some money?" And it's like, all right, yeah, we can do that.
To sum it up, that's how they basically pay off the debt.
Yeah, and meanwhile, while this is all going on, the rest of the Bad Batch, are heading, to save the separatist senator. And I think Tech and Wrecker are very much like, I don't trust this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're walking into a trap, while Tech and Hunter have to be like, listen, all right?
Well, you mean Echo.
Echo. I mean, yeah, Echo.
Yeah.
Echo and Wrecker are very much like skeptical about the whole mission.
Yeah, because remember, Echo's like what? For at least one of a regular clone.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's been part of the whole thing since the beginning, all the way back to like season 1 of Clone Wars. So he is definitely not all aboard the whole saving the separatists, because he's like, no, fuck those guys. They're the reason some of my buddies are dead.
Yeah. So they have to get this help from this droid. I mean the droid that's like owned by the separatist senator. Mm-hmm. I forget his name, but it's a very I think Singh. Singh.
I will say I find it kind of weird how Not saying they are, but they're the clones are a little aggressive towards that droid.
Well, I mean, they fought droids all the time during the
Yeah.
Clone Wars, so I mean, yeah. I mean, even the Bad Batch, whenever like the droid does something like, you can't break this vase, it's very valuable, and it's like, droids,
Droids.
you know.
Very
So
one note.
yeah, but basically they do a whole little break-in. They
It is an awesome break-in.
yeah, it's
I mean, breakout.
yeah, breakout. Yeah, like they break into this the facility. They knock out some clones with the stun guns and various other tactics. And of course the escape itself is pretty ballsy because they hijack an Imperial Walker, and they're just sort of having to like dodge all these cannon fire from other walkers. And eventually, the senator leads them to a secret passage that they blow up, so that way they can escape. And when they reach the ship, the senator's like hesitates for a second. He's like, "I can't run away. These are my people. I have to fight."
Yeah, that's
them.
like one of the few moments where like, oh right, these are people.
Yeah. He's very much like, I don't feel right leaving my people here behind, and everybody, including Echo, who has a bit of a change of heart for a little bit, is like, no, you need to like survive.
You fight another day.
Live to fight another day. All right, because this ain't over. You'll help for your people.
Yeah, and that's something I've always liked in some of these. I know for some people, I want you to explain more, give me more details. Like, no, I get it. Just one little thing like that is able to like get me to really root for this guy. Because he's a separatist. Like, and we've all known separatists to be the bad guys, but this guy clearly has the care for his people. You don't got to show him doing a lot of extra stuff. Be like, no, I can't lie to my people, because that's basically the inciting conflict with the senator was that all he had to do was like say, hey, Empire, ain't so bad.
Yeah, but he was like, no,
fuck that.
No, I can't do this.
I can't do that.
No, this is wrong.
Yeah, and at the end of the episode, he's like, am I about to just? I can't abandon my people. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need like a whole lot of backstory and explanation and show how he tried. You just gotta show that he cares. It's one of those things where like it kind of slightly elevates that character to being more than just like a very like flat character. Now he's more. Now you get it. He cares. Yeah, he's a separatist, but he's doing it because he cares about his people.
Yeah, and I mean obviously the real, the Empire is now the real big bad,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, so the separatists are essentially, having to deal with the Empire now. So, it's kind of like easier to root for the separatists now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's sort of.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if you think about it, whatever the political dealings of the reason why the separatists wanted to leave, the Republic, they probably had a good reason, or that they were manipulated by the dark side, or
I mean, yeah, Count Dooku,
you son of a bitch. But like this person might generally had like no, just being in the Republic has not helped my people. If I separate them, this is me, speculating. That's because like that's what you can do with a slight introduction of the idea that maybe the separatist leader wasn't so bad.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, if the people were willing to hear him out, then I mean, like, maybe he wasn't so bad.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's sort of where the episode ends. They return back and they find Omega just, like you said earlier, she's paid off the debt because she's kept on winning all these matches. And Hunter decides, because she helped pay off the debt, it's like, all right, we're going to play one match, you and me. If you win, no more staying behind. You're coming with us every mission,
I really do love the father-daughter stuff they have with Hunter and
Omega.
Omega. It really like humanizes Hunter a bit because he's such like a caring dad. he's such a warrior ant. Like he's like, where's Omega? Is Omega okay? Or even he forgets that Omega's around. Not around. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because he does mention like, all right, Tech, you and Omega go this side, and it's like, I mean, that's impossible because Omega's not here. And it's like, oh yeah, I did leave her behind. Well, I mean, obviously, to be fair, like, I mean, he's obviously trying to be protective, simply because, hey, two bounty hunters tried to take her, and one almost successfully like brought her to the contact. So clearly, it's starting to become clear that it's very difficult to try to keep Omega safe, right?
Yeah.
But they're gonna do their best trying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
it's also one of those things where Omega's clearly capable of helping out.
Yeah, not in like direct, not in like fights, but like very indirectly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, Hunter is definitely sort of like, I think now sort of like, okay, maybe we can use her for her strategy skills now, right?
It's like in most shows, whenever they have like the kid sidekick, they usually get themselves in trouble, or they get kidnapped, or just kind of annoying sometimes. But Omega's thankfully isn't that. She's just a really sweet character who is actually capable to do a lot of work. 'Cause remember, she's a clone of Jango Fett, so she can do some shit. So it's not like impossible for her not to do any of that.
Yeah,
absolutely. So far I still think Bad Batch is super solid. Like it delivers what it needs to, and it gets us there in time. I think we forgot to talk about Crosshairs the last episode, but basically he's just being Crosshairs.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely injured, and he's very, very much pissed off. Like, God damn it, they got away again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I give both these episodes like a solid 7.
Really? Because I think I feel like I think the episode 9 would probably be like an 8, but this one would probably be like a 7. I don't know.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. But anyways, now that we're done with Bad Batch, we can jump straight into Loki.
And holy shit, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Holy shit. I'll say this right now. Obviously, by the time this episode's released, it's gonna be a little bit of spoilers here and there. But funny thing is, one of my coworkers was telling me about their theories about Loki, and by the end of this recent episode, I was like, "Son of a bitch, he was right."
Okay.
I immediately thought of you when you were talking about your goddamn prophecies of Smash Bros. Reveals.
I mean, I guess, sure, but yeah.
Just because how accurate he was on that shit.
All right, yeah, fair enough. But let's start with episode 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where we cut to Loki and the female Loki, who reveals her name to be just Sylvie in this episode. They've essentially because they escaped the TVA. Wait, hold on. It's they. I'm trying to remember correctly.
Sylvie's trying to chase after, basically trying to get into wherever the Time Lords are at.
Yeah, the Timekeepers.
Yeah, and Loki gets her and traps her They trapped each other into another apocalypse. Except it's the worst kind of one.
Yeah, it's the worst one because they're on a planet with another planet that's about to crash into the into each other, and there's no if they can't find a way to power the little device that allows them to open all these time portals to travel through time, then they're basically dead.
Yeah,
because essentially Sylvie mentions that no one lives through this. All right, everyone here dies.
It's two planets colliding.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, there's no possible way for anyone to live through that. So it's just sort of them trying to find places where they can get power, and also just sort of dealing with each other's own
differences.
Obviously, Loki being more skilled with his magic abilities and stuff, with while Sylvie only really knows how to do the little mind enchantments, get into people's heads a little bit. And they sort of they kind of have bits of just sort of banter of hey, well, I mean, clearly we should do this way, and it's that's not a plan. All right, you don't even know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Very much sort of back and forth, but they sort of kind of get along a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, they establish that they're Lokis, but they're also a different kind of Loki. Because one thing that's established is that Sylvie wasn't taught by Freya. she had to teach herself.
Mm-hmm.
While Loki, who we already know, was taught by Freya. And I think, and it's such a sweet moment. It's just Sylvie just hearing Loki being, yeah, I love my mom.
Yeah, they get on this train. They try, as like the fastest way to get to this arc, essentially, that's gonna leave the planet. And they're thinking, okay, we can use the power of that arc to recharge this this sort of device to leave. And obviously they're like, we're kind of screwing these people out. It's like, yeah, but they all die anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so, but obviously there's some shenanigans about on the train. They get tossed.
Because it's Loki.
Off. Yeah, because it's Loki. He gets into a little bit of shenanigans. They get.
By the way, badass. I want to say Norwegian song.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think the little subtitles mentioned it was an Asgardian song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but I mean, it could have been I guess Norwegian lyrics. I don't know. But yeah, they get tossed up the train, and it's like, well, they're like, it's gonna take us freaking forever to get there, and it's like, yeah, all right, but they still sort of have like this sort of little banter back and forth. And by the time they get there, they realize that the arc's about to leave, right? And it's like, all right, what if we can somehow change this? To somehow, maybe we, with the work of 2 Lokis, maybe we can change the timeline a little bit and escape off on that ship. And they try, going through this sort of a bit of an extended one shot of them just having to fight all these guards, sort of dodge all the bits and pieces of the planet falling on to the city. And of course, just a big chunk just crashes into the arc and pretty much destroys it. Thus, pretty much just leaving Loki and Sylvie isolated. And now sort of having to come to terms with like, okay, I guess we're gonna die now. Right, and that's sort of where the 3rd episode ends. In a very sort of in a depressing cliffhanger, if you will.
I will say that was shot amazingly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I think it's the colors that are involved because it is
also. It was all one shot.
I mean, it is impressive. But yeah, I think a lot of it does come from the colors of the environment because they're in like the sort of like futuristic city. It's a lot of purples.
Cyberpunkish.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like there's a lot of purples and like neon and stuff. So it looks visually nice as well as I guess the backdrop of like the planet falling, coming down. That's also very interesting shot. And then, it's sort of, it is sort of like, I guess, kind of, I mean, obviously it leaves you off on a depressing sort of note, but of course, this week's episode shows up, and we sort of, get to see sort of the aftermath for a little bit, as, Loki and Sylvie are just, and, we're going to jump straight into episode 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just accept death.
Yeah, they're kind of just hanging out in the middle of like nowhere, watching as all these bits of the planet are crashing down. Meanwhile, Mobius and all the other like members of the TVA are just trying to figure out, okay, where are the Lokis? Where are they? We need to figure out where on the timeline is there any sort of like weird, like variation, trying to see if like whatever they're doing, if they can find them. And it's also here where we sort of learn quickly that the one Minuteman that was captured by Sylvie, because I think
who captured Sylvie?
Yeah,
he said captured by Sylvie.
But yeah, she was though. We're talking about the Minutemen that she used with the mind.
But you said that it was like it made it sound like you said Sylvie captured her, but
Sylvie did capture her.
Oh yeah, we're talking. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. We're talking about the one that she was doing the whole mind things.
Yeah.
You know.
I thought you were talking about the other one.
No.
Okay.
Okay, but yeah. We learned that she apparently has died.
Yeah.
And Mobius is like, but how? She was perfectly fine when we found her.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, she deteriorated quickly. She was losing her mind. She did things to her mind or whatever.
Mm.
And it's like, this is sort of like a bit of like a.
All right.
Yeah, like
that's weird.
Yeah, this is kind of weird, but okay.
Which I think you forgot to mention that in the last episode we find out that everyone at the TVA is a variant.
Right, that is something I forgot to mention, because that's sort of what Sylvie sort of tells Loki, is that when she was messing with the agent, the Minutemen that she captured, she essentially just found memories of a past life on Earth.
Yep.
So, basically sort of pointing out that, hey, everyone here at the TVA, they're all variants. They're all captured by the timekeepers, and they're forced to work there, and their memories are wiped, and they don't even know what their previous lives, right? And so yeah, that's sort of like that's sort of an underlying thing that it gets discovered in episode 4 by some people. We'll get into a little bit. But yeah, back to Loki and Sylvie. They're sort of just like pretty much, yeah. They're accepting it, waiting for it to happen, and there's a moment where they start holding hands, and that's when like the TVA, Mobius and them sort of see like, all right, that's a variation off the timeline. What's going on there? That's something that we never seen before. And of course, that's where they find them. They capture them, and they sort of bring them in, and Mobius for a little bit decides to at least wear Loki down a bit by having him relive a memory of him messing with Sif.
And Sif is back.
I mean,
cameo.
Yeah. Technically, it's a cameo. It's just her beating the shit out of Loki,
which
because
is hilarious.
Yeah, because he.
It's an endless loop.
Yeah. He's essentially he's being looped into getting beat up by her like over and over and over again. Which, I mean, obviously it's funny.
And I think what he did was based on an actual myth. I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's true, so someone can correct me. Obviously. I
mean, yeah, that's I mean, I guess it's a little fun to do sometimes. Just take actual Norse myths and just play it up for the MCU. But yeah, it's sort of that. Meanwhile, Mobius is sort of kind of like wants to interrogate Sylvie, right? And his boss, I believe it's Ramona.
Yeah, it's not Ramona.
Yeah, and she's like, no. You handle your Loki, and we'll handle this Loki, all right? And it's like, but why? I feel like I can figure out what exactly they were doing and why that we saw that weird spike if I just could talk to both of them. It's like, no, don't worry about it, all right? Just let us handle. You handle that Loki, and we'll handle this Loki. And,
you can already, and like we already said, like Mobius is like, okay, something's up, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, this is a little
sus.
Yeah, it's a bit suspicious. But I'll play my cards. So I'll hold on my cards for now. And he goes back to Loki, brings him out, sort of does a bit of an interrogation with him, just trying to figure out, hey, listen, what's the deal here? What's going on? Right? Are you guys working together? And he's like, work with her? No, she's annoying. She just doesn't.
Yeah, and here we get to the part where I'm like, I don't know about this decision. I think I might be reading it differently than how it's supposed to be, but Mobius implies that Loki is in love with Sylvie.
Yeah, because essentially Mobius tries to do a bit of a trick play of like Loki's being like, oh, I was just using her, so that just means to an end, And it's like, oh, okay, well then, I guess you wouldn't care enough to know that we, she's been pruned, she's dead. And, we got rid of that one, I guess, side in your throne. You're just superior Loki now, right? And he's sort of like, wait, she's dead? Really? Fine, yeah, sure, that's fine. And, of course, Mobius is like, dude, I'm messing with you. The way you're looking at, the look in your eyes, you totally, there's some weird. Are you into her? Essentially, yeah, sort of implying that Loki does have like some feelings for Sylvie in a way, whether or not it's because I think Mobius sort of mentions like is this like some weird narcissism thing or like what's the deal with that, you know? Which I mean, it's definitely interesting, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting turn that Loki would fall for like a female version of himself. But I mean, yeah, like that's sort of like what he implies, and Loki as well, sort of like he sort of decides to like try to like tell Mobius that like, hey, listen, all right, the TVA is lying to you. You guys are variants. You've had past lives, and they sort of taken you, and now you wiped your memory, and now you're working here at the TVA. All right, the Timekeepers are lying to you, bro. And obviously Mobius is like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you've been lying to me all this entire time, so why would I believe you now, right? So, he sends Loki back in to get beat up by Sylph once again while he decides to go and, talk with Ramona again. But meanwhile, we have the other Minutemen, I think B-15, I believe. Is there, like...
Hunter B-15, yes.
Yeah, Hunter B-15. Decides to, like... Because I think she's also sort of, like... she wants to talk to Sylvie and decides to take her back to the Rock Smart thing where she tells her, hey, listen, when you controlled me, I saw something. And I don't know what the hell that was. You better tell me now, all right? What the hell did I see? And it's like, it's your memories. Bullshit. I don't have memories. I was created by the TVA. It's like, no, all right? Those are your memories, all right? And she's like, show me more. And of course, you don't get like a little like flashback to all of her memories.
No, because that would be too much.
Yeah, a little bit, but we just sort of like see Sylvie using her enchantment to like give her some of her memories back, and she's sort of like,
I was so happy. Like she starts crying, dude.
Yeah, it's like, this was my life, and now I'm down to doing this. It's like, what do we do now?
Yeah,
essentially,
which I love because like that character has been very like stoic and like very
serious business,
but the moment that shit happened and the moment she starts talking to Sylvie, you're like, you can already tell she softened up a bit, like something happened.
Yeah, like clearly her seeing like a glimpse of her memory just put her off edge, and now she's sort of like, I need answers. And now that she has the answers, she's like, what do we do now?
Yeah, it's like
she's fully on board.
Yeah,
with helping Sylvie now, because he's like, all right, the TVA,
and it's such a touching moment too.
Yeah,
it's literally just her closing her eyes and be like, I was happy. I was just like wow. So this whole time you've never been happy. Wow, this is like, it just tells you how much the TVA has been lying to these people.
Yeah,
especially when we get to the next person that finds this out.
Yeah, and of course, Mobius back with Ramona. They're having this nice cheers, like, hey, we did it. We're solving this case. We're gonna friggin' send the Lokis down to the Timekeepers where they want to see us, prune them and stuff. And you're invited. It's like, oh, that's great. And Mobius decides to switch their little time pads, I think.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like their personal phones or whatever. So once he does that, he leaves. He decides to check on what.
Which, can I say, doesn't it remind you of a Game & Watch?
I mean,
the design look.
I mean, I guess, but like, I don't know. I don't know if it's intentional or not.
Yeah.
I mean, given the aesthetics of the TVA being sort of like this, like late 70s, early 80s, like office vibe. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's intentional. I'm not sure.
Maybe they just happen to look like it.
I mean, yeah, like I don't know.
I'm not saying it's an actual,
No, I know. I'm just, I feel. I mean, I don't know if it's intentional or not. I mean, if anything, I feel like it's more like an advanced pager.
Yeah.
If you will. But yeah, no. He basically scrolls through, finds about what happened with the Minutemen from the previous Minutemen that died, and turns out they interrogated her, and she. Obviously, like, no, like, listen, all right? What I saw was real. those were my memories. All right, we're all variants. You know, the TVA is lying to us, and you know, we hear like a voice being like, "That's enough. We're terminating the interview." Or like the interrogation, and we see it's Ramona. So she clearly was, you know, lying. Like they basically killed her to keep, you know, the whole big truth about the TVA under wraps.
Mm-hmm.
And Mobius decides, okay, you know what?
Loki, you might be right.
Loki, you might be right. I'm here. All right, listen. If you like, I'm here to help you out. All right. I just have to tell me, you know. I have to make sure I can trust you. It's like, because I mean, like, are you sure this Sylvie girl's right about this? Like, I mean, yeah, I feel so. Like, I have to trust two Lokis. How about you trust a friend?
Like, oh, you have to pull up the Legolas Gimli moment.
You pull the friend card.
Yeah.
But you know, as soon as they leave, Ramona is right there with a bunch of Minutemen. She's like, I believe you have something in mind. It's like, yeah, my bad. You know, I didn't realize that we switched our little time pad thing.
Such a Owen Wilson thing to do.
Yeah, wow. You know, just here you go. And of course, Ramona knows, like, you know that
you know what we gotta do now.
Yeah. Before Owen Wilson gets pruned, he's like, listen, you know what I want to do? I want to go back to work. Because I think she mentioned...
She mentioned earlier, like, if you could travel any point in time, where would it be?
And Mobius like, I don't know, I like working here. And he's like, you know my answer is now? I just want to go back to where I was, you know, my previous life. I'm probably riding a jet ski.
Yeah, because he's always been obsessed with those jet skis.
Which, I mean, you know, probably is something that happened to him in his past life, you know? And then he gets pruned. Loki and Sylvie are both taken. But at the same time, Ramona realizes that, all right, who's been here with her? And it's like Hunter B-15. You know, she really wanted to, and she insisted. It's like, find her. You know,
find her.
She must know. She knows too much. You need to terminate her. And they get brought in front of the timekeepers. You know, all three of them just sitting on
big old lizard-looking dudes.
Yeah. You know, and essentially sort of putting them to judgment. You know, it's like, we don't fear you guys, and it's like, oh, I think you do. Or else, why the hell, you know, would you want to destroy us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Hunter B-15 shows up just in the nick of time to get their collars off, free Loki and Sylvie, and they, you know, fight the TVA, these Minutemen here, and they beat them all, and and Sylvie is able to decapitate one of the timekeepers.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit. But then like you're like, oh wait, hold up now.
Yeah, because the other timekeepers are just laughing about it.
Yeah.
It's like, ha 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 ha, you fools. And then they sort of just go like,
yeah, no, it's like a ha 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 ha.
Yeah, and it turns out that the timekeepers were androids. They're robots.
They pulled a Wizard of Oz on us.
And it's like, then who's running the TVA? What's going on here? And, you know, like, Loki tries to comfort Sylvie, but then he gets pruned by Ramona, and there's one last struggle, and Sylvie's like, you're going to tell me everything, right? I ain't going to kill you, but you're going to tell me what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and then that ends, well, not doesn't end the episode, because
there's an after credit scene.
After credit scene. And in the after credit scene, we find out Loki, he ain't gone yet.
No, in fact, he's somewhere else. And he's like, am I dead? It's like, and we hear a voice like, no. But if you don't come with us, you will be.
And it's 4 more Lokis.
Yep, we have a kid Loki. We have an old man Loki who's like dressed in the
classic outfit of Loki from the comics, like way classic.
Yeah, a black Loki and a alligator who's a Loki.
Yeah,
which is, you know, yeah, that's obviously.
And I'm just like, you son of a bitch, you did it. Because, like, I remember hearing Richard E. Grant was going to be in this movie, in this show. And this is what I'm saying to my coworker. Was like, I think he's going to play old Loki. I think this is going to happen. I'm like, I don't know, man. And now, here we are, episode 4. And it's like, son of a bitch, he was right. Which, by the way, he looks good in that outfit. The outfit looks kind of, you know...
I mean, honestly, it's meant to look dumb, but, like, you know, yeah.
Yeah, very, like, Halloween store kind of look. Like, it looks good.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's a big, you know...
Yeah. it's Richard E. Grant as Loki. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. As an old Loki. But yeah, no, this episode blew my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more like, oh my god moments in this show, especially since we are, I think, at the halfway point.
Yeah.
Of this series.
No, I think there might be 2 more episodes.
2 more episodes.
Yes.
Okay, then. So we are like essentially we're hitting the climax of the story. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if anything, it makes me wonder.
What's next? Who's the big bad?
Yeah, like I mean, like are the timekeepers even like an actual thing? Like what's going on with the TVA? Who's actually really the head honcho?
Well, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of speculation that it's gonna be King the Conqueror because he's so hyped up, and we're talking about time travel.
Yeah, and he is sort of like the sort of who could potentially be a next big bad for the MCU in general, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that would be interesting.
Yeah. Now, I think I've said this before. My one thing about this really feels. I won't say it's a negative. More like it feels like a really awkward thing for me. It's the whole Loki and Sylvie possible romantic relationship. To which you have noted before, like I don't know, it seems like a very narcissistic thing to happen, which would make sense for Loki.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Mobius points it out as well, in this episode. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird.
Well, I feel like more like it's not that he's in love with her, but it's more like him learning to love himself.
I mean, technically, you're not wrong.
Yeah, and in a way.
In a weird cosmic way, yes, yeah, he would be loving himself, but I mean, I feel like you could do that in other ways. Though.
Yeah, God damn it.
Yeah.
But no, I think Loki is probably the better of the last. I'm not saying. Now I love each show equally. They have their ups and their downs, but I think this one's probably the most enjoyable to watch right now.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. I feel like for me, it's more of like this show has the most potential to impact the MCU.
Well, that's the idea that Kevin Feige has established with everyone. It's like, yeah, this one's gonna be the more impactful of the Marvel shows.
Yeah, like this one is gonna have a lot more of a There's potential consequences that might arise by the end of this show, I mean, granted, like obviously, I think with WandaVision, it's more like, hey, Wanda is now essentially fully become the Scarlet Witch.
She through handling her grief,
and stuff, and Falcon Winter Soldier. Falcon officially now takes up the mantle of being Captain America, and
with also addressing sort of the problems that come with Cap. And like the problems with there being a Black Captain America.
Yeah. So I mean, like, granted, not to say that the other two shows didn't have like a lasting impact on the MCU. They do. This one has more of like an overreaching impact in terms of the universe and like what we might be seeing.
In the same way where Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, set up the idea of the Infinity Stones.
Like fully set up the idea of the Infinity Stones, right? Because we've already obviously
we knew it was coming, but it was Guardians of the Galaxy that really established our first look into one of the stones, and then we later find out that there were other stones around the whole time.
Yeah, and some more obvious than others. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to just see where the show ends up going.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'll probably give both these. I'll probably give the first episode like a 8. Actually, no, I'm going both 8s. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I feel like episode 3, I probably would give it an 8. This one, the latest episode 4, I probably would give it an 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, that's one hell of a. An idea of, rating. But, yeah, I think this is, we'll see how the rest of the show goes. Thank you guys for checking us out. If you guys want to follow us, we have three social medias you can go check us out on. There, obviously, it's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All at the Geek Centurions. We are most active on Instagram. And when you go there, you'll find a link tree to all the podcasting sites that we are officially part of, like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Spotify, Pandora, all that kind. There's also a link to the YouTube for all you audio listeners out there who want to, put a face to the voice. We're here, this is how we look, sadly. And if you guys go on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that kind of good stuff, in a way to help support us in so many ways. We also have a Patreon, which is we always have that up. It's always like there for people who want to. We're not obligating you guys to do it. It'd be very appreciated if you do, in a way for us to have a sort of backup, so that if we ever want to do something big, project wise, it's there. And yeah, Loki's and Bad Batch, two good shows are on Disney Plus right now. I highly recommend go checking it out. Thankfully, we are going to be going back to some movie reviews because some movies are coming out that we're like, we want to talk about, so we'll let you guys know about that in the future. And yeah, guys, I hope you guys have a good one. It's me, your boy Eli.
For me, Joe.
We have the Geek Centurions here. Hope you guys have a good one. And we are signing out. Peace.